It's going to get better and it's going to be okay. And I can't cry because I just did my makeup to leave, but I promise you it'll be okay. Hello my loves, welcome back to another video. I hope you're having an amazing day or night or whenever you're watching this. If you're new here, welcome to the family. I'm so happy to have you here. And if you're returning, hello, I love you so much and I have missed you so much. You have no freaking idea. It has been a hot freaking minute, I know. So much has happened, I have so much I need to update y'all on, but I'm back and I'm ready to go and I'm so freaking excited to get back into this. Honestly, I'm a little bit nervous. I feel like I'm kind of on a first date. I'm like reintroducing myself to you guys. But hello, hi, my name is Miranda if you are new here. I had an eating disorder for about 8 years and I started posting my recovery online. I'm a holistic nutritionist, a personal trainer, a yoga teacher, and a recovery coach. And I post wellness, lifestyle, fitness, self-love, spirituality, all the wellness era things, but not diet culture related. If that sounds like something that you'd be into, we would love to have you join the family. My subscribers are freaking phenomenal and amazing and lovely and kind and caring and just so freaking beautiful. Please join if you would like. The subscribe button is down below. I love our community so much. Side note, this setup is also going to be where I'm going to film my podcast, The Art of Nourishment. It is back up and running. I'm probably gonna post this video on that as well if you wanna just listen to it, walk around. But I'm really excited about this little area that we're gonna be creating. Send me ideas on what you think I should decorate it with. I have a little sign coming in that's gonna say Art of Nourishment. I'm so excited. Let's get into the video. Today's topic is what I wish I knew before I started eating disorder recovery. And obviously, this is going to be a video about eating disorder recovery, and if you are not feeling like you are ready to hear this, or this just doesn't seem to be the video for you, please click out. I won't be offended. I just want you to be okay. And I have a ton of other videos on my channel that aren't triggering, so trigger warning now. It's okay to click out. I love you. It's all good. Don't even worry about it. Last thing before we jump in, if you are interested in becoming one of my recovery coaching clients, I will be opening up my applications this Monday, so when this video comes out, they will be already open. I will put the link down below if you're interested in starting recovery, and I would love to be the one to help guide you on your journey. But if that doesn't sound like something you're into, or you're not ready for that next step yet, and you just want to follow along, hang out, and see what I'm up to, my Instagram will be right here. It's Miranda Rocks, ROX, and my DMs are literally always open. I love hearing from you guys, so honestly, please don't be afraid to DM me. For those of you who would like to continue with the video, let's get into it. The first thing that I wish I knew, and honestly, this is such a big part of recovery that I don't think a lot of people find out soon enough. Having a why is going to change everything for you in recovery. Every time someone messages me and asks for my top 3 tips, top 5 tips, whatever it is, I always say first and foremost, no matter what, find your why and stick with it. Sit down, write out a list of reasons why you want to recover. It doesn't matter how big or small they are, and then pick the one that stands out the most for you. And every time it gets rough for you in recovery, or you feel yourself wanting to fall back into old behaviors, go back to that why, because that why is going to be what's constantly pushing you forward and reminding you of why you're doing this in the first place. I know it sounds pretty obvious, but honestly, when I sat down and really solidified my why, it made everything so much easier, because whenever I struggled, I would go back and remind myself why I was doing this in the first place. i.e., if you're noticing body changes, if you're feeling really down emotionally, if extreme hunger is kicking your butt, because let's face it, that shit is hard. Going back to your why and reminding yourself of why you're doing this in the first place. It could be as simple as, I just want to be able to live life again. Because that is so big in itself. Having something like that you can go back to and remind yourself of why you're doing this in the first place. Maybe it's for your family, maybe it's for, whatever resonates with you, write it down, put it up anywhere, everywhere, keep it in your notes, whatever works for you, and stick with it. Because your why is going to be the biggest thing you go back to every time that you are struggling. And I promise you it works. The second thing that I want to talk about that I wish I knew before I started recovery is that, and I'm gonna say this really clear, maybe even twice just so everyone listens, when relapses happen, they're not setbacks. When relapses happen, they're not setbacks. I think that there's a lot of pressure going into recovery of not relapsing, not going back to old habits. It is so hard for you to hold yourself to that standard when for months, years, however long you've struggled with disordered eating, This is something that's ingrained in your brain. This is something that your body has learned to accept as a safety mechanism. It's not going to be so easy to just throw it out of the window and leave it alone. Mistakes are going to happen. Relapses or setbacks or whatever are going to happen, and you need to know that that's okay and that's expected, and you can't beat yourself up about it because it's so normal. And the only important part about relapses or anything like that is the way you handle them. I relapsed multiple times. I even posted a video of me relapsing, and honestly, looking back now, it wasn't even a relapse, but I was able to work through a lot of my emotions in that video, and if you want to go check it out, I'll link it somewhere here. But I talk myself through how I'm feeling, and it makes you realize how much you lose when you go back to those disordered eating habits. And just in general, knowing that it's going to happen and it's okay takes the stigma away from you not wanting to in the first place, if that makes sense. Don't beat yourself up if you relapse. Don't beat yourself up if something happens, because it's going to happen. It's expected. As long as you have something in place to deal with it, or as long as you take the necessary steps afterwards to make sure it doesn't happen again, and you take care of yourself, which is so important, and I will talk about that in another video. But if you are going through a relapse or something like that, I think I talked about it in that other one as well, be kind to yourself, be gentle, be compassionate, be caring, because you need it the most in those situations. Anyway, going back to the point is I wish I knew that relapses were okay and not this huge, terrible, awful thing, because we're human, let's face it. It's going to happen. And if it doesn't, hell yeah, go you. But for me it did multiple times, and I am so okay now, and that's because I was gentle with myself when those things happened. The third thing that I wish I knew before starting recovery is sort of controversial, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Having something to believe in helps immensely. And what I mean by that is when I started recovery, I very heavily leaned on spirituality. And for me, that was so beneficial because it allowed me to step back anytime that I felt overwhelmed and give my power and my control to someone else, because eating disorders or disordered eating, they're all about control. And when you are able to take a step back from this huge, intense, awful thing you're experiencing and give that weight to something else, it helps so freaking much. So I was really lucky. I found spirituality. I was already a little bit spiritual. It honestly takes a lot of hard work and deep diving into child wounds and all that stuff, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not. All I'm saying is once you get really deep with something that is really affecting you, something to believe in really helps you with that. And so the more that I did the inner work for my eating disorder and for recovery, the more that I fell in love with spirituality, because it gave me almost this sense of peace and secureness in the fact that everything is happening as it should. I'm not ahead of my recovery journey. I'm not behind in my recovery journey. I started my recovery exactly when I was supposed to. Everything is happening for a reason. If I relapse, it's okay. It's part of the plan. Everything is happening as it should, and it helped me not question a lot of things in my recovery. Whereas I feel like, especially with a lot of my clients that I coach, it's so easy for someone in recovery. I even did the same thing, and I didn't have someone to help me along this, which is why I think I leaned so heavily on spirituality. But you need to be able to notice that you are not at fault for your eating disorder. You are, I don't even know how to explain it, but you are not the problem. And your eating disorder kind of isn't the problem either. Your eating disorder is just something that your body and your brain have developed as a safety mechanism, as something to help you cope with everything that's going on in your brain and whatever's going on around you. And especially if you developed it as a young kid like I did, it was protecting you in a way, right? Like that's something that I think a lot of people don't understand. And so having something to lean back on and even just take that weight off of your shoulders, because eating disorders are so secretive and shameful, just helps so much more. And whether that's God, spirituality, whatever you want to believe in, whether that's just family and leaning back on your family and just allowing yourself to rest, Number 4, what I wish I knew before I started recovery: don't let this be a solo journey, if that makes sense. Yes, there's gonna be a lot of parts that are solo, and yes, there's a lot of important parts that you have to do alone, but don't let this be something that you're alone in, because you're not alone in it. And whether that's reaching out to me, reaching out to my community, reaching out to someone to begin therapy or have a recovery coach or something like that, like whatever it is, do it, because you don't need to be alone in this, and you're not alone in this. It's just such a big, monumental part of recovery that I don't think is talked about enough. Hopefully that resonated with some of you. The last thing I wish I knew before starting recovery is that you're going to have to cut your coping mechanisms out cold turkey. And I'm not talking about the stuff that you do during your eating disorder. I'm talking about the stuff that kind of adds on to that process. So examples would be like weed, smoking weed, drinking alcohol, over-exercising. For me personally, when I started recovery, I cut out exercising cold turkey. I used to go to the gym all the time. I over-exercised a ton. I weightlifted. I did so many of those things, and I knew that for me to fully focus on my recovery and my mental health and my emotions and my journey, that I had to cut out movement cold turkey. That doesn't mean that I didn't go on walks, and that doesn't mean that I didn't do like a 2-minute yoga every now and then. But I knew in my heart that if I continued going to the gym while I was doing my recovery, I wouldn't be able to have the full recovery that I envisioned, because I still had the mindset of, I have to earn food, let me go to the gym, or I have to burn this off, let me go to the gym. And I just couldn't do that if I was committing to full recovery. I think I progressed so much more in my recovery when I cut that out cold turkey, but ironically, I didn't cut out alcohol or anything like that. And I wish I had. I wish I had cut out alcohol just at least for a little bit, because recovery is a really internal process in the sense of you're really rewiring your brain. And I think that if you're drinking alcohol, which is a depressant, especially as a coping mechanism, it just really isn't going to help your recovery in any way, shape, or form. And I did eventually figure out that I needed to cut alcohol out just a little bit so that I could feel what was going on in my brain. I did the same thing with smoking weed, and I stopped because I realized there was no way I was going to fully recover if I was still numbing myself with these things. Not to say that these things are bad. Like individually, they're not bad. If you want to smoke weed, smoke weed. If you want to drink, drink. Unless you're underage. If you're underage, please don't listen to anything I'm saying. I just mean, you don't have to cut something out that you love, but you have to recognize when it's not helping you and when it's harming you. And I think for a lot of people, we disguise the gym as something that's helping, but realistically, it might help if you take a step back from that. And so I think that's something worth looking into if you are struggling to start recovery. And you don't have to cut everything out all at once, but I wish that I'd cut everything out sooner, because now I am in such a better place with movement, the gym, drinking, smoking, whatever. And I don't do it every day. I don't do it all the time, obviously. But, you know, I was able to become a personal trainer and not have any of my clients affect me, or have any days that I take off affect me. I haven't gone to the gym in about 4 months. I was in a car accident 4 months ago, and I've been cleared to go back to the gym. I've gone here and there, but I would have never been able to take that long of a break off if I didn't take that 1 year off during my recovery. So it's just something to think about. Again, all of these are just things I wish I had known before starting recovery, and I don't want any of these to freak you out, but that's just my take on how I think I could have sped up my recovery. But again, everyone's on their own journey, everyone's on their own path. I'm just saying that I wish that I would have stepped back from alcohol a lot quicker than I did. And now I'm really, really lucky to be in a place where I can drink and go out tonight, and didn't restrict today at all like I would have used to, especially before my recovery. I had chocolate chip pancakes this morning. I'm gonna make nachos before I leave. I also just ate as well. I don't want any of this to scare anybody that's starting recovery or that wants to start recovery. Hopefully this video even encourages you to start recovery, or even helps you if you're in recovery. But I just want to re-emphasize, like, the biggest thing is really that everyone is on their own journey and on their own path. And don't, if you take anything out of this video, don't compare anything that I'm doing or I'm talking about to how you're doing it. If anything that I said can help you, use it, apply it. I love it. Let's do it. But if anything feels like it doesn't feel right for you or it doesn't resonate with you, don't do it. Don't listen to me. Like, I'm just a stranger on the internet. Yes, I've gone through recovery, but my recovery is so different from your recovery. So many different aspects of my recovery are not gonna relate to you, or yours won't relate to me, and that's totally fine. The basis of all recovery is just you want to be able to give your body the love that it deserves and that it wants so desperately. So if you take anything out of this video, just take that everyone is on their own journey, at their own time, on their own path. Don't compare yourself to anyone, because everyone's recovery is so different and so unique, and everyone's body is different, everyone's brain is different, everyone's emotions are different. So that's where I'm gonna end the video, just because I feel like I'm getting real hot. I'm overheating. Also, I'm pretty hungry. I want to go have some nachos before I leave. And I have so many more things I wish I knew before recovery. I can do another video if you want. Let me know down below. But biggest takeaway, recovery is so worth it, and I don't regret anything that I did in recovery. These are just things that I think would have been cool to know beforehand. But realistically, I did everything exactly as I was supposed to, and if I didn't do it the way I was supposed to, I wouldn't be able to share it with you now, and I wouldn't be able to have all these conversations that I'm having with my clients. And I'm very grateful for everything that's happened in my life. Bad or not, recovery or not, eating disorder or not, just know like everything is happening as it should. And I know if you're in your eating disorder right now, it probably feels really awful and really lonely, and I feel like I'm gonna cry because it's going to get better and it's going to be okay. And I can't cry because I just did my makeup to leave, but I promise you it'll be okay. And if you need someone to talk to, if you're not ready to take that step for recovery, I understand, I hear you, I'm with you. My DMs are always open. And if you are maybe ready to take that next step into recovery, I promise you it is so worth it. And I'm cheering you on at whatever stage you're at, and I love you all so much, and I hope this video helped in some way, shape, or form, and if it didn't, that's okay. I'm just really excited to get back into YouTube, and I love you. You're doing amazing. You're stronger than you think you are. That is it for today's video. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a like and subscribe for more content. I will be posting regularly, and yeah, I don't know. I'm in my feels now, but I'm gonna go and eat nachos and have a good time tonight. Celebrate the fact that recovery was the best thing I could have ever done for myself. So hopefully that inspires at least one of you, and I love you all so much. I hope you have the most amazing week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.